Well, hello, guys. Kevin the Comic Doctor coming to you with another live CGC unboxing. Guys, I'm Kevin the Comic Doctor. I'm a comic book presser. I'm located way up in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. And like I said, this is a live CGC unboxing. I have two full boxes here for you, all Silver Age, all Spider-Man. So if you're a Spider-Man fan and you like Silver Age books, you've come to the right place today. I also want to talk to you guys tonight about CGC grading consistency. I got a couple of stories to tell. And, I want to banter back and forth. You guys know I like to have guests on the show from time to time. And I invited Alan from Comic Collector Geek to come on. Let's see if I can get this to work. And there he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Alan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I've been watching you, like I said, for the last I noticed you a few months ago, and I've been catching your show every now and then. And what I love about your channel is you are purely a comic book collector, which I love to see. And I love all the Golden Age books you got behind you. You're really a Golden Age fan. And you seem to subscribe to CGC. You seem to be in on that. So
I have about maybe I would say 2,000 slabs in my collection.
Right.
So
you've seen grades that you agree with, grades you don't sometimes may not agree with.
Yeah, it's been very inconsistent. It is always inconsistent, but what I always think is that the grade is sort of a fuzzy number. It's like, it's close enough to being whatever that means. Like if it says a 3, then it's kind of a 3.
Right.
It's like I always like that. To think that books should be within that plus or minus range of half a grade. If it's more than that, then I'm kind of skeptical about the book a bit. But I generally try to buy books that present better than the grade that they say that they are.
Well, that's always, I think we all look for those, right? And sometimes when it comes to modern books and Silver Age books, oftentimes when books do present better, that's where people come to me and say, Kevin, what do you think? We crack this out, maybe get a grade bump. And that's become a real big part of the business over the last, last year, I'd say. I'm doing lots of CPR, crack, press, regrading.
Regrade.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, do you always resubmit the label as well?
I do not. I send the books. I send the labels in later. I don't know. For me, like, why give them any information? I don't want to give them information.
That's what I thought too. I'm glad you submit them in later, but I was thinking that there's probably a huge ghost census because there's a lot of people that don't trust. Oh, if I send in the thing, of course they're just going to grade it the same way because it go against their own,
Well, that's just it. And they also know I'm a pressing company. So if I'm going to say, I'm in direct competition to their own in-house pressing company, right? So
I've heard negative things about their in-house grading company though. But
the pressing company, yeah. So have I. But I mean, I think the pressing company suffers from the exact same thing we're talking about here tonight, about their inconsistency with the grading sometimes, and I think that has to do with employee turnover, with just how the sheer busyness of the company, and it becomes like a machine, almost like an assembly line. And when that happens, quality oftentimes goes to the wayside, unfortunately. And we were all talking about Bend Gate, they were calling it, or Banana Gate, I think some of the guys are calling it.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a video on that next week, I believe, is coming out.
I think and I said a few weeks ago, I said, listen, that problem is going to be gone fast. And I've already noticed that with the books coming back, there's no bends in the books anymore. Like as soon as
it was probably just a machine that was off kilter.
I think it was a person who was off kilter. That's what I think. But I mean,
okay.
But your guess is as good as mine.
Probably a machine that puts them into that inner well, right?
The inner well is what they use is basically a heat sealing system. So so I don't see how, unless they're crushing it.
No, the machine could be just a little bit off, and when it presses, it's not pressing evenly, and then that would do it. Right?
That's true too. If it's off kilter a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be that. It could be the actual encapsulation when they put the inner well inside the slab and then they close it. Problems could be happening there. But whether it's a faulty machine or a miscalibrated machine or a miscalibrated person, um, I think it was. I think it's going to be solved already. As soon as Palm Breach Presser made that video a couple weeks back, and then 0.99 got on there and Swag got on there, and everybody started talking about it. It got to the attention very, very quickly, and actually, did the CGC responded to that just a few days ago? Did you have a chance? What do you think of the response?
I didn't really see much of the response. Like, I thought the response, they didn't really say much, did they? They just sort of said that we're looking into it, basically. Yeah.
From what I got out of it was, a lot of the damages we see are not enough for us to call it a mechanical error. I'm paraphrasing, mind you.
Yeah. But I think probably what happened was they suffered a lot from the other comic gates that they've had. I think they don't want this one. I think they want to just brush it under the rug, and
I think they want to brush everything under the rug. They've had a really bad year. Year. I think. Well, I shouldn't say I think. I did talk to customer service a couple of days ago. I had a book that I was concerned about. He contacted me. He said, well, I'll just tell you what I think. Guys, if you've got a book that you think has been damaged significantly, they're going to take care of you. They're going to take care of you. But I'm pretty sure they will. But if it's a very minor defect, they probably will not. That's, if your whole book is bent or there's like a real obvious damage to the book and it's a 9.8, then I certainly you have to go through the person who submitted the book for you, though. So you just can't call CGC yourself. You have to go through your submitter, and that's work for the submitter. They're not going to like this, but that's comes with the territory. And then, have them contact customer service and see if they can get a mechanical error form for you. But they usually do take care of things if they're really, really ugly. Anyways.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's one good thing. I mean, I've heard lots of horror stories where people have submitted like Golden Age books, right?
Yes.
And with golden books, they could be a little bit more frail. Like some of the books, and I've heard people like where either a staple gets popped, in the encapsulation process, or something where it lowers the grade in the process of them receiving it. I don't know how certain books can even be graded, to tell you the truth. Like, how do you grade a square bound book and give it a 9.8? Like, just the opening of that book, you've
damaged it.
Yeah. So I never really understood that process in a way.
Well, it goes back, and what we're here to talk about is the consistency. I have a couple of stories I want to share. I'm going to run a couple by you and see what you think, and maybe you guys out in the chat rooms. What do you think? The second story is quite heartbreaking. The first one's heartbreaking for me, though. So let me tell you my sob story.
Okay.
I had one of my clients, Steve, actually he's a good buddy of mine now, gave me he had a NYX 3, the first
the first
X23.
X23.
Yeah. And I'm not like you, I'm not a huge modern collector, but this book,
I have that book, so
there you go. So
it's a cool book. Yeah.
And I pressed it and I cleaned it. Well, it didn't need much cleaning, but I pressed it, sent it. It came back in 9.6. I bought the book. He gave me a good deal. I bought the book and I kept it. Anyways, let's fast forward a couple of years. And one of my clients has some vintage Star Wars. As you all know, I'm a big toy fan as well. And he had a bunch of 12-back Star Wars 12-backs, original action figures from 1978 that came out. And I was really keen on that. So he goes, well, I'll take cash and trade. And I got some books. He goes, oh, I'm interested in that NYX. I said, well, okay. He gave me the fair market value towards a trade. I let it go. Anyways, the day he brought back he gave me the action figures. I gave him the cash and the books. He then said, can I fill out a submission form? I've got books I want to submit. I said, sure. He started putting books down. And then he goes, here, put this one in too. And I said, but the NYX book. And I said,
yeah.
Well, no, you don't have to. I already pressed and cleaned that book. It's done. You don't have. He goes, Kevin, I'm going to take my chance. I said, all right, I'll pay you again. I said, no, whatever. I'll do whatever you want. So I pressed the book. And this is where the sad part comes in for the comic doctor here. I sent it in, comes back in 9.8, a 9.8, of course. So, yeah, that was kind of a kick in the rear end a little bit, and I was kind of upset about it. And I'm like, what the hell, What do you think of that, Alan? Do you think that was fair? Was it all right? Was that a good?
So like for me, up till about 9.4,
Hmm.
like I think usually the defects that can be present within a book, usually you don't have any color breaking spine ticks or something that's really really glaring. It could be just like slight deformity or whatever, you know, like something
Right.
where it still gets the 9.4 or gets the 9.6.
Sure.
um you know, if you probably just pressed it again, that deformity could have disappeared. 9.8.
Yeah.
Or it could have been the case that, you know, sometimes I think that they err on the side of the lower grade, right?
Hmm.
And they, you know, you know, it's one of those things. It could be a 9.8 based on no real defects, but they still give it a 9.6 because they don't want to give too many 9.8s out.
And I agree with you with them erring towards a lower grade, especially with key books, especially with
Mm-hmm.
big books. Like they don't want
Yep.
to flood the market with too many of them, right?
Yep.
Um, so yeah. Look,
So that's.
when it comes to 9.2 to 9.4, 9.2 to 9.0, 8.5 to 8, 8.5 to 9, and you and I were
Mm-hmm.
talking about this backstage.
Yeah.
There is that, you can allow for that. That, a book that's a 9
But
could be a 9.2, could be an
but
8.5,
most 9.6s, as I said, even 9.4s, there's usually there's like only a slight defect, like really like a bent corner or something like that, and it's
Right.
usually non-color breaking. So if that gets somehow squished out, then 9.8.
Yeah,
It's
and there
like
it
really
goes.
that much.
Well, this is my next story, and this story actually is from a client of mine, and we're not talking. Oh, and by the way, the whole 9 to 9.2, 9.2 to 9. I've spoken to Steve Borak about this, and I even heard Matt
Mhm.
Nelson talking about this as well. Yeah, they admit, they say, yeah, a book that's a 9 could very well be a 9.2, could very well be an 8.5. They kind of find
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happy medium, right? So,
yeah. Plus or
I
minus a grade.
right. So let's try this one. I'm going to show you guys a picture here. Let me see if I can call it up. Now, this was a book. Well, let me tell you the backstory first. Peter, and if you guys follow me on Facebook, you saw this comment. Peter bought a really nice copy of Amazing Spider-Man 194. It was a 6.0, and he was very excited. He brought it to Kev. What do you think? He was like, I found this awesome CPR candidate. So I look at the book and I'm like, holy cow, this book, through the slab looked
Hmm.
beautiful. It was a great candidate. I said, this is gonna for sure bump. I go, Peter, you found a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one here. So he submits it. We do the work. We send it back in. Book comes back a 6.0. It doesn't go up at all. It stays exactly the same.
Hmm.
The back was filthy. We cleaned the back. It looked like a brand new book. We pressed it. It looks fantastic. So Peter is disappointed. Obviously, I was disappointed. Obviously, and
Hmm.
so he just said, "Yeah, I'm going to sell it." So he sold it. And then about a month and a half, 2 months go by. Then Adrian, another one of my clients, sends me, and I didn't know it was the same book.
Yeah.
Sent me an ASM 194 6.0. We crack it. I think Napur pressed that one, and off it went. And let me show you the results right here. Yeah, where is it? Brand right here.
Do you
Let's
have
see.
like the
This is
before and afters or anything
I
that we can?
I have just all I have is the slab and the label. I don't have the before and after. I probably do somewhere, but I kind of ran out of time. But look at this. There it is. From a 6.0 to a 9.4. Huge
And
grade.
and I know that book. So that book is one where a 6.0 looks like a 6.0 because usually there's like some spine ticks that are very obvious because it's a black cover.
Right.
To go to a 9.4 would be impossible.
Well,
It's literally impossible.
I'm going to tell you, the back of this book was filthy, and
Hmm.
it had some bends in the cover, which did not break color, and I think
Okay.
it has one, maybe two spine ticks, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that you can get with a 9.4. Yeah.
100%. And so we send it in, and it comes back a 9.4. Hey, we're all happy.
Yeah,
Adrian's
yeah,
happy. I put it on my Facebook page, and then the other day, Peter writes on the comment, "That's my book."
yeah. Hmm.
And I'm like, no. And I knew what he was talking about. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, it's not. I go, I thought he was joking, right? Because it's a coincidence. Another 6.0 became a
Yeah,
9.4.
yeah.
He goes, Kevin, no, I checked the numbers, and I checked, and sure enough, it was his book.
That sucks. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Tell me about it.
Yeah,
Tell me
so
about it.
I, that is
What's up?
inconsistency in grading. I don't know what would cause it to go from that grade to that grade. I mean, obviously it wasn't a 6.0 when it was graded as a 6.0. You probably had it sorted out the first time when you cleaned the back, and if there was no, you know, no major flaws, like after you pressed it, probably it is a 9.4. But the fact that they didn't give you that the first time, at least
It
even
was
an 8 would have made some sense.
100%. And I think he would have been happy with. I think he would have been happy to go to a 7.5.
Mhm.
But to jump that high up. Now, this brings me to a whole other topic, and I have a couple of friends who are dealers, a couple of
Mhm.
clients that I work with, that they will submit a book until they get the grade they desire. And I
Yeah, no,
mean,
no, I've heard. That's why That's why I on a few of my shows I talked about the ghost census. So that there's probably a pretty massive ghost census of books that were submitted and resubmitted and resubmitted until they got the 9.8.
yes,
And so I think the numbers are way inflated. Um,
oh yeah, I agree.
yeah,
The
but
census is totally inaccurate, totally inaccurate.
I think it's good that they recently, this was only a recent thing within the last couple of years where they were talking about encouraging people to send back the labels, right?
No, no, you could send back the labels years
I
ago.
know
They,
that
they,
they could, but I've been hearing more about it, like where they've been actively promoting that idea.
yeah, I
Um,
know this has been going on now for so long,
mhm.
and while I might send back my labels and other pressers might send back their labels, there is a good number that don't.
Yeah,
Um, and I'll be honest, if a customer gives me a book to do CPR and they want their label back, I give them their label back if they ask for it. I say, here, take it.
yeah,
It's yours. It's your book. It's your label. Um, right or wrong, maybe I shouldn't do that. Because they really, like you said, it's totally inaccurate now. That the CGC census is, look at it as a very loose guide. You know what I mean?
yeah. But
You
I do
know,
believe that there's people out there that know that certain books are rarer than they would appear to be on the census.
yeah.
Because I've seen people buy books where it wasn't the most logical buy, like where they're buying it as if it's a scarce book, but the census shows that it isn't as scarce as what they're, the way that they're buying it, the way that they're actively chasing it.
Yes.
So I've seen that a few times. So it's been a thing. But
Yeah.
to and this is maybe part of the inconsistencies of CGC. Like, you know, I'm not sure how many employees they have, but they're probably some employees that will grade harder than others, right?
Oh, 100%. It's again everything else in life. You get pulled over by a cop. Will he give you a break or is he going to give you a ticket? I've always get the ticket, but I hear people getting breaks and I never get the breaks. So it depends on
Who
who you're
you
dealing
get,
with, who you get.
yeah. And
And then,
the other
and
thing
it's,
that they've said, like I think they always say it goes through at least 2 to 3 hands or something like that.
it was
I'm
supposed to be
not sure
three.
how true that is.
It
I was one,
was, it was three. Now I heard it's two.
yeah.
And I speculate that that's not true, but whatever. I'm not there. I've said this before on my show where I was there last summer in Sarasota, and I contacted them for to come visit. I wanted to see their operation.
Yeah.
I do a lot of business
Did you
with
get
them.
in and see it or?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
I feel like it's a black box, you know what I mean? Like where you don't know what's going on
They didn't want.
inside.
He told me, the vice president said, "We've got some equipment here. We don't want people seeing it." I'm like, "Give me a break, man." I go. I just did $180,000 with you guys last year. I would think you would want me to come and see your operation, so I can come back to my shop and tell everybody how amazing your operation is, right? Don't you want me to
Hmm.
sell your product for you? But they just kind of said, "No, we don't want to see you. No, no, we're not set up for that." And apparently they were at one point. I know people that have been to their location, but they've changed. They've changed things, since BlackRock came along, and yeah. So
Hmm. Yeah, well,
I
it's
don't know.
weird that they've been bought out by BlackRock of all companies. Um, but yeah, you know what? Did you ever watch any of the CGC videos that they do?
I've seen a few.
The one that did you see the 9.9 grading?
Oh, the pre-screening.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh,
Actually, I
sure
thought that was
was.
really interesting because in a way, we're talking about inconsistency. There was books in that grading. I was like, really? Are you sure about this book? Are you
Well,
sure this is a 9.9? Um,
what
Yeah.
I was that video you're referring to, what got my attention was how he was handling the books.
Oh
And
yeah, he was
if they
pretty
were,
rough.
oh, 100%. If they were 99, they certainly weren't 99 anymore.
None after, yeah, geez.
He's, like a piece of, like, they're like a file
He
folder, like
is
bang,
Ben
bang,
Gate.
bang. Yeah, there you go. He's Ben Gate. Oh my Lord. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't, and then there's, and again, talking about the graders. And again, I never want to say that, someone who's younger can't be a grader. But that one video they had, and it's the one that, what's his name? Sticky Goose was making fun of, that young lady kind of talking about, her favorite books. And she's maybe 21 years old and she's
Yeah, yeah.
grading books. And, again, I don't want to point fingers. Like, I'm a teacher. I work with high school kids and
Yeah, yeah. I
whatever, but,
mean,
but do I want to?
I think it's all different ages can be like you can have young kids that are actually really knowledgeable and pretty impressive, and then like you can have like older people that are total idiots that don't know anything about books.
100%.
Just because somebody looks young doesn't mean that they're any less knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So
What he said there, they just don't want you to see the fraud. I don't know about the fraud. I don't think CGC is a fraudulent company. I really don't. I don't think they're up to like
no,
nefarious behaviors. They're just a huge freaking company, and they're over. I think they're overwhelmed. To be honestly, with
well, the way I see it is this. There's I'm a big like a capitalist kind of in my philosophies in life, and I was watching a video about Milton Friedman.
Okay.
And it was a really cool video where he was talking about back in the 70s. There was a car that if you hit it on the side, it would explode.
Okay. Oh, the Pinto,
it was
the Ford Pinto.
actually Ralph Nader wrote a book about it, Unsafe at Any Speed. So Milton Friedman was asked, why didn't they just fix it? It was like $22 to fix this one little bug that was in this car. And so why don't you just fix it? It's $22. Well, he said, what companies do is they look at the math. Okay. $22 times X number of cars is this much to additional cost
To fix.
And loss of profit and all that kind of stuff versus how like the chances of this happening and the lawsuits being X dollars, which is the bigger number. Okay.
Oh my God.
And that's what companies have to do, because you could spend $1 billion and make a car that's 100% safe, but you would be out of business. So they have to do those kind of mathematical equations because there's no car that's 100% safe. Okay.
That's crazy.
But the same applies to CGC. Like you could grade it and every time it'd be right on the grade. You could trust it 100% and there would be no inconsistencies. You would know that it's the true grade, but it might cost you $1,000 to get it graded, $100,000 to get it graded, because to get that level of certainty and consistency, you'd have to spend X more time on it, and therefore, So
no, I get you.
So my point is there's always that balance that they have to play, where they have to value. Okay, how much time do we have to spend on this book versus the complaints like from people like us, especially like us that say, hey, this should have been a 9E. This should so there's that balance that they have to play. And it sucks, but it's part of doing business.
I just don't believe like when they look at they're willing to fix cracks and things like that. And I mean, the amount of like today I sent back 2 magazines that were the labels were mixed up. So I just and they're going to pay to send those back. They're going to pay to reslab them. They're going to pay to ship them back to the owner directly with an express service. I mean, that's money net, and they're doing that a lot. So
again, it's again, it's probably they weigh it out. They probably figured out that if we do this thing that costs us X dollars, that person's going to be a happy customer and they'll submit more books. It'll balance out in the end. They probably did all these calculations. As the company gets bigger and bigger, the more calculations that happen, I imagine. So
I guess so. Yeah. So you'll keep buying CGC books though, right, Alan? Like it's something you're not going to stop buying?
Personally, I actually have PGX books in my collection. I have CBCS books in my collection. And I have CGC books in my collection. I don't have any of the other companies.
Yeah.
But generally, as long as the reputation, and this is, I think I'm always worried about the death by 1,000 cuts with a CGC, that they're doing, they're really trying to get the 1,000 cuts. Maybe they're around 900 cuts right now, but they're trying to get that.
What a year.
Yeah,
What a
what a year.
year.
It's been a bad year for them.
Holy
But as
Jesus. Can't
long as
believe it.
their reputation is still that they are the premier grader and their books are worth X dollars more than the other books, you have to kind of go with CGC, right?
Mhm.
It's one of those things where, if you have a big book, do you want to lose 20% of the value just because you chose one grading company over another?
And the costs are are
And the costs,
almost the same, right?
don't make sense, right? It's like
Right.
very little difference. I'm the biggest thing, my biggest gripe, I guess, with CGC is the 5%. That premium that they charge on expensive books.
Oh, the 4%. The 4%.
4%. Yeah,
4%.
4%.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think that's a conflict of interest.
I my problem with CGC would be the vintage and the moderns. I don't know why a vintage book that was printed in 1968 that's worth $200 should cost more to grade than a modern book that's worth, say, $100 more.
Well, so here's the
Makes no sense.
question. Yeah. So is it any more difficult to grade a book that's old versus new?
No, not really. I mean,
Not really. No.
you might have different some different factors you got to take into consideration when you're doing it. You might have
Or you
but
might have to handle it a little differently, maybe. I don't know. Or do they have within their ranks of like these people that are doing the grading, do they have different levels of graders where Joe, he's our premium grader, and Bill is like the guy that just got hired. It doesn't know, and do they send the big books to the big guy?
Yeah, and I do agree with the conflict of interest, but when you're talking about the 4%, because the more they charge, the more they make, right? Or
Yes.
the more they say the book is worth, the more they make.
And how do they determine that value, right?
Well, usually it should be,
Well,
it should
yeah.
be, it should be to auctions and sales and what have you. But that fluctuates, right, from month to month
Yeah.
to month, and I do see them, books that I was sending, like for example, Ultimate Fallout 4s that were worth $3,000 and they're now worth $700.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't. They know that now, and so I don't send those books under the higher tier anymore. In fact, I try not to send books under the unlimited tier unless I'm really, really confident that book is worth that money.
Yeah, it's the unlimited tiers at 1,000 plus, right?
1,000 plus, and it used to be different. I think it was a different, I forget what it was now, but it wasn't quite. They had a standard tier, and then they had it was called the walkthrough tier for books over 3,000. It was 1,000 to 2,999, and a lot of books fall into that category, and they got rid of that tier. They made it so that all books over 1,000 are getting hit.
Yeah,
that was a bit
brutal.
of, yeah, that was bullshit. Because like I said, a lot of books like Giant Size X-Men #1 and even some lower grade Hulk 181s, those will fall under the 3,000 US mark, right? But now $1,000 and up. That means every single 9/8 copy of ASM 300 is going to get stung. Ultimate, what do you call it? Ultimate Fallout for a long time was getting stung, right? So yeah, I didn't like that shift either, to be honest with you. So I think they're going to rethink or rejig their.
Well, that's why I don't do submissions, because the books that I'd want to get graded would be, I have probably about 1,000 or 2,000 ungraded Golden Age books. Of that, maybe 200 are in that 1,000 tier plus. Okay. So the cost associated with getting those books graded is just like, it's a lot of money. What could I buy if I didn't get those books graded?
Yeah. I call them big boy books. I mean, Rob Bin says, Doc, some books cost more to grade, but also some books cost more to press as well. And they do. And I didn't say I didn't agree with charging more for higher value books. I think that you should. And when I do grade books, or when I put a value on books, I usually am quite conservative. And I also, if it's an American price, I usually just call it Canadian. And so I knock 30%
But you don't
off.
do like the percentage thing.
I do 3% of fair market value on big books.
Oh, okay.
If the books are over, are they over 3,000? I think for books over $3,000, I do. Books that are from 1,000 to 2,999, I just charge $100 flat rate.
Okay,
I believe.
so that's not too bad.
And that honestly usually is most of the books. Like how often do I get like a $15,000, $20,000 book? I get them, but not like every day. You know, it's that's not the norm. But when you're handling a book like that, there's more risk involved. There's more, you got to be careful with the book. I've got an insurance policy in place, to ship those books. That costs me more money because, I got to take care of those books. So there's costs involved too, right? So, I get that. I think you should pay more if the books are worth more. But,
well, yeah, I mean, I get that. I actually do agree with that because you want them to take the extra time and care to make sure that book is properly pressed, and and also like usually the cheaper books are modern books, right? To be
usually,
honest, right? And the amount of work that's probably required on those modern books is probably less. Unless I don't know why, what somebody could do to a modern book. Most people like just throw it into a bag, and you can probably just do a quick pressing with the modern books, right?
Modern books are a pain in the ass. They're actually more temperamental. We had a bit of we had a bit of trouble with one book actually at Fan Expo. A fella gave me a couple of books. I forget the book now, guys. It was a foil, one of those stupid foil covers.
Foils I heard are hard. Yeah.
Well, certain foils you can press, and usually if they've got cardboard backing, it's not a problem. But we hit this one had a crunch. It was probably a 98590 already, so it needed a press. It needed something, and we fixed we fixed the damaged corner. It was crushed,
crunched corners. Yeah.
Got rid of it, but then the friggin' foil reacted to the heat of our hand iron, and it actually it changed the the texture
like, so it had almost like a weird prismatic effect or something.
Yeah, it wasn't even prism. It made the paper dull in that one spot. It's like, what the hell?
Wow.
So yeah, when you're dealing with all these newfangled papers and foil covers, oftentimes if I don't recognize the paper and I just think it's going to be too much of a risk, I just say I just turn away from it. I don't want to do it. Or if we can hand tool it with no heat at all, we'll do that. But this book needed the heat. It needed it. So
what do you do in those cases? Like, do you just say?
I contacted the owner. I told him what happened. I said, listen, the book's going to grade higher than it was, but it's not going to get a 9.8. It probably get like a 9.4 or a 9.2. Previously, we got
still good. But
yeah, and so it's up to him, right? I mean, and he decided to hold off. He wants to see it, and so he's going to come in and check it out. And if he wants to continue, we'll send it in for him. You got to know that with pressing, there's always risks. And I'll tell you, just to answer your question from earlier, Golden Age books, no problem. I love working on Golden Age books.
Well, I know they have a thicker card stock.
They're durable, man. And even the modern books up to like the Bronze Age books, no problem. It's the new stuff with the plastic papers and the polymers and the new inks. Oh boy, they could be really temperamental. Really temperamental. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought the modern books, because
of course,
not much time to really mess up.
I'll tell you another story. Did you go to Fan Expo this year in Toronto? Were you there?
I was invited, and I actually had free tickets, but
nice.
I didn't get to go. I didn't.
Well, I brought this up I think a week ago, but they were selling exclusives, Fan Expo exclusives, just out front of in the main entrance to the hall, and in the South Building. And I was right there. People were coming in. And a fella came up to me and he bought a bunch of these exclusives, $40 each. And he's like, brand new, right off the shelf, hot off the press. Here you go. He got them signed. I think he got, I think they were Art Germs. He got them signed.
So cool.
Stanley Lau, right?
Yeah.
And I go, you want them pressed? He goes, I don't think they need a press. Like, you're probably right. I had a really quick cursory look at it. I said, well, wait. I pull it out. The whole front of the book was just damaged, like crunched. Okay. They destroyed it. And, he went back. He got a brand new book. They gave him a brand new one, but other guys I talked to said lots of those exclusives were damaged. They were mishandling them. They were being very rough with them. So well,
probably the people that are like the ones that were at the front hall or whatever. Like I even saw that where in a previous Fan Expo, the people, you could tell they're not comic collectors. They're just people that are
working there.
They were just working there. Right?
That's it.
Just like, oh, these are comics. Here you go. Like, then they'll toss it over to you. Like, whatever.
Yeah. So with modern books, usually it's being mishandled or in shipment, a problem happens. A problem occurs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I don't know if we solved anything here about CGC's inconsistencies.
I don't
just
think
more, just more to talk about, more to think about when you're sending your books in.
Mm-hmm.
You've got human beings. Someone earlier mentioned about, Rob Bin talked about computerized grading as the future. I just don't see how a computer can grade a golden age book like this very delicate that's behind you.
Yeah.
Without, I don't know.
It'd be pretty hard. So I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Hip Comics?
No.
Hip Comics. They have a website, hipcomics.com.
Okay.
They actually have an app that you can catalog your books. It's all free, which is cool.
Okay. Hip Comics. All right.
Now, so what you do is you can take a picture of your book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it will kind of approximate the grade.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not, you actually can change the number, right?
Sure.
Where it actually matches. I found that it's about 40% accurate.
Yeah.
Still
too early.
It's pretty early. Because if you think about it, you're only taking a picture of the front of the book, first of all.
Yeah.
That really, there's a lot of things that can go wrong there.
Yes.
And then it really can't see the spine in that picture. There's a lot of things. You would have to have some kind of technology where somehow the book is suspended and you could do like a 360 and then somehow have it flip through the page. There's a lot of tech that would have to be required just to do the scanning of the book.
Mm-hmm. There was a customer of mine who was into computers like you are, was trying to develop something like that. And I know they do with cards now. They do AI grading cards.
Would be easier because
two sides. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to happen. And you never know. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe AI assisted. Who knows? But anyhow, listen, Alan, thank you so much for coming by and talking about this with me. Where can everybody find you? If they haven't seen you before.
So it's just Comic Collector Geek. You can find me on Instagram and on YouTube. You can check me out. I talk a lot about Golden Age comics. I talk about some of the stuff too that, with CGC, and I'm actually doing a video on Monday about Bendgate.
All right.
And I think this weekend I'm doing a video about my presentation at the Ottawa Comic Con.
Oh, nice.
Where I was talking about the Seduction of the Innocent. So if you're interested in that,
all right,
you can check it out.
All right.
And I post every day, so there's always content for my channel.
Well, thanks a lot for coming by, man. It was nice to stream with you for the first time. Hopefully it won't be our last, and we'll see you again in the future. And again, thanks for your time. I do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, bye for now. All right, thank you, Alan, for popping by. Guys, I still have 2 boxes to share with you here, so let's get this show on the road. Again, I'm using a different system now. I don't have my overhead cam, so I'm going to just do this from right here. And I tend to go quicker when I do it this way. Anyhow, let me just get my keyboard out of the way here. And I got to go quick because I have 2 boxes. I've got to ship to CGC like pronto. All the Fan Expo Signature Series books are done. They are pressed. They are cleaned if they needed it. They're packed and they're on their way to CGC very soon. Okay, here we go. Let's go. First box. Now, these are Mike's books, I believe. Here we go. We got, and these are all Spider-Man books. We got an Amazing Spider-Man. Look, love these great grades. 109 and a 9.0. We have a Spider-Man, and they're kind of in order, kind of not in order. Number 110, also in a 9.2, nice high grade. We have the origin and second appearance of Morbius in Amazing Spider-Man 102, right there. And these books look fantastic in the slabs. There's no bends, no nothing. So I think Bendgate is behind us, my friends. I'll go back to the chat once these are all done and answer any questions you might have. And then I am going to take off, guys. I do want to get those 2 boxes ready to ship. We got Amazing Spider-Man 101. First appearance of Morbius. Great book, 8.0. This book has come down quite a bit. Value-wise, might be a good one to pick up. I'm going to put these down here. All right. Because these books shipped in CGC's newfangled containers, I had to transplant them from that box to some short boxes to make the unveiling a little more easy. Okay, we got a Spider-Man 100 in an 8.0. Derek says, I don't even want CGC's humans counting pages. Now we want a robot turning them. Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel the same way. We got an ASM 116 and an 8.5. Again, these are from Mike from out east. Full run of Amazing Spider-Man. We've been seeing a lot of his books over the last few weeks. Another ASM 115 and an 8.5. We have an Amazing Spider-Man 114 and 8.5. I guess I could stop saying Amazing Spider-Man because they're all Amazing Spider-Man. We have a 104 and a 7.5. Great Kraven the Hunter cover with Kazar. We got a nice 9.2 in a number 103. That's a great early high-grade copy. Winston asks this question. He says, hey, Kev, can you estimate the percent of the graded books you see that are way off? You know what, honestly, Winston, they're not usually that far off, honestly. I oftentimes will give people estimates of what I think their books are going to be when they're in my shop. And usually either I'm too low because I'm being very conservative, or I'm bang on. Very rarely am I over the top. And I'm usually pretty on the ball with that. So I don't think they're ever too way after. This year, guys, is the Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 2. And you'll notice Canadian version. And these back, I've shown these before. Pain in the rear end, guys. It's a lot of work to clean these guys up. Annual number 2, again, in a 4.0. Canadian edition. We have an Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1 as well. Also in a Canadian edition right here, right there. As again, you'll see. Whew, it is hot in this room. My gosh, the lights and everything. We got an Amazing Spider-Man number 58. We're getting some early ones now in a 7.5. As I was saying, Mike picked up a full run of Spider-Man from number 1 all the way up to, I think, like into the early 100s, which we are now seeing. We have a number 118 and a 7.5. And I think Mike's in town. He contacted me today. I think he's from Halifax originally, and he's actually in the Toronto area doing on business. And I was hoping we'd meet up maybe tomorrow, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. A 117 and a 7.5. We have a 105 and a 9.4. We have a annual 14 and a 7.0. I should put it back. We have another annual number 3 and a 5.5. We have a 9.2 copy of issue number 113. It's a pretty copy, white pager too. Another annual number 5 and a 6.5. Now, talking to Alan, he says, how about Golden Age books? I have no Golden Age books today, but we just finished a massive Golden Age order from a client out in Calgary, also named Mike, I believe. And I'm going to see if I can come on here and do a quick video of those books. Almost, I think, 75, maybe more, or maybe a little less. All Golden Age books, great books. So maybe I'll show those to you guys. We have a 7.5 copy of ASM 111. A couple more from box number 1, issue number 107 and a 9.2. And finally, out of this box, we have 106 and an 8.5. I'm very happy to announce this is the end of any boxes I have currently on hand. I finally caught up with these boxes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I have about 1 million books at CGC currently, and they're going to come down on me like hellfire very soon. So there'll be a lot more unboxings coming around in the coming weeks. Also, guys, if you are in the area this Saturday, I will be at the shop from 11 till 2. If you are at the London show this weekend, I am not setting up, but I'll be there hanging around. So if you see me in the London show, say hello. I'm taking my son to the show. I'm helping out with the Eastman signatures on Sunday. And for everybody who did submit Eastman books for the Eastman signature, thank you very much. And the submission time is obviously now closed for that. Let's see here. The next weekend, the following weekend, I'll be at Hamilton Comic Con with Roy's Paper Heroes, and I'll be there all week. Well, all weekend, 2 days. I think it's Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to meet the Comic Doctor, you can do so at the Hamilton Comic Con in Hamilton in just over a week. All right, box number 1 done. On to box number 2. What do you charge for submission to CGC in the different tiers? Well, that would be a little bit much to go into here, but if you go to my website, thecomicdoctor.com, thecomicdoctor, doctor.com, and there's a little tab at the top. All my prices are all laid. All the prices for pressing is there, and all the pricing for CGC is currently there as well. So I encourage you to go have a look. If you have any questions, Al, give me a holler. I do all of them. Go, and it doesn't matter if it's gold. Well, it does matter. So go have a look, and it's all broken down there for you. All right, El Nino, here we go. Let's keep going. We got one more box to go here. Some earlier ones. We got Amazing Spider-Man number 54 and a 6.0. Beautiful Romita covers. Are all beautiful Romita covers. We have a number 52 and a 6.0. We've got a 53 and a 5.5. You definitely see a shift in the grade levels, right? You notice that? The other ones were 80s, 90s, 100s, and they were like in the 8.5s and 9s, the odd 7.5. It seems like this tier of books in the 50s and 60s and 70s are, you know, in the mid grades, 5.5, 6, 6.5. Let's see if we have any higher ones here. And here we go again, a 5.5 copy of number 62 of Medusa. It's a great copy. We have an 8.0 copy of ASM 56. Awesome. I love that storyline with Doc Ock, man, when I was a kid. Absolutely loved it. I owned all these. I don't anymore, but I did. Right here, one of the more popular issue covers right here, number 55, with a close-up of Doc Ock's pretty face. We shift into the Kingpin now, number 51, sorry, 51 and a 6.0. And a number 50 and a 5.5. First appearance of the Kingpin. Nothing wrong with that. It's a pretty book. How many of you guys are Amazing Spider-Man collectors? We've got Amazing Spider-Man number 61 there and a 9.0. Number 60 and a 6.5. We have a 7.0 copy. Is a great book right here. First appear Mary Jane Watson cover. Right here. Very popular book. A lot of guys been looking for this book. So keep your eye on this one. This is hot right now. A 7.0 as a Fan Expo. I had 2 or 3 copies. Gone. This one. 7.0 white pager. White pager. Nice book. Another Kazar book here. ASM 57 and a 7.5. And that's issue 57. We have Issue number 74 and an 8.0. There it is. .5 copy of number 73. El Nino says, what's your approximate turnaround after I drop off comics to you to send to CGC? That changes from time to time. Right now, our turnaround time's around 6 to 8 weeks. So within 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to get to your comic books and they'll be shipped to CGC. Yeah, so you're probably looking at around, for a modern submission, you're probably looking at around 3 months total tops right now. Now that could change, right? As submissions start increasing, then our turnaround time might slow down a little bit. But right now, I've been quoting 2 to 3 months, 3 to 4 months. It usually won't be that long. I don't know if I did this one yet or not. 7.5 and a number 69. Haggard the Great, number 70, says, you mentioned you were a Star Wars fan. Do you ever grade your toys? Yeah, you know, I have not graded toys. I don't have stuff I'd probably want to get graded, to be honest. Nothing that's really, maybe just a couple, I don't know, loose ones I would maybe consider grading. But yeah, and it's AFA, the Action Figure Authority, is the one that a lot of people use for their action figures. And I've owned graded, and I have a couple of graded toys. But I don't send myself. I've never really gotten around to it. So yeah, number 68. The problem with grading like toys and even like video games, and I've mentioned this before, VHS and that sort of thing, it's very expensive to ship back and forth. And like the comics, I've got it down to a science. I've been doing it for over 10 years. I know what I'm being charged at the border, so I can appropriately charge people for the shipping. And I cover my back when it comes to like customs broker fees and all that sort of thing. Like I was telling Alan earlier, I'm doing between 400 and 500 books a month. Maybe in a bad day, 380, or a bad month, 380, a good month, closer to 600, but around 400 to 500 books a month. And that's a lot of books going back and forth. And I use my own account, and I've been able to keep the shipping costs relatively low where I'm concerned, or for me. So that's worked out. But I think, I'm not going to be sending down 25 carded Star Wars action figures. If you're doing quantity, like a lot, it's worth it. But if you're doing one Star Wars action figure or one video game or even one comic, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. All right, we got a Mysterio book here, number 67 and a 7.5. Awesome cover. All right, almost done this box. We've got the Quicksilver issue, number 71. I think one of my favorite issues is coming up in just a second. We haven't seen yet. 8.5 white pager. One of the very first comics I ever had, which I got from my brother. I think it's coming up. Number 70 and a 5.0. Another great Mysterio cover. Beautiful Mysterio cover and a 6.0. Number 40, number 66, not 46, 66. Hey, still only 35 cents. How you doing? That's a great name. We have a number 65 and a 7.5. And we have another Vulture copy here in a number 64 and a 7.5 white page. Great. I love this cover. Beautiful cover. Yeah, love that one. Oh, I don't know where that book is. I didn't see it. Huh. Number 63 and a 5.0. And a shocker cover, number 72 and a 7.0. So a lot of mid-grade books, a few higher grades, no 9.8 surprises in there. That would have been nice to see. But unfortunately, none in this batch. Yeah, I thought I was going to see one of my books I used to love, but I don't see it here anywhere. Anyways, there we go. That's 2 boxes, Amazing Spider-Man books. I hope you enjoyed that. Peace and love to you too, my friend. BK Hita 718. Hey Doc, peace and love, brother. You too. You too. David Dryden says, when I send off games, I usually save up for a few years and do it at once. So expensive. It's the shipping that's really expensive, to be honest. I have, like, again, I don't do games, guys. I try to stay away from that stuff because I don't know games. But, you know, Chad from Chad's Game Room sometimes taps me on the shoulder. He usually has big orders, and I'll do him a solid, and I'll send the books in for him. And I am currently collecting a few games, like, from different people to have an order of 10. 10's the minimum they'll send back. Again, I don't like doing it, but for a good customer who's a comic guy and has a couple of games, I try to help out where I can. But I don't tend to do them very often. Oh my goodness, Jim's here. How you doing, Jim? Long time no see. Will you be at the card show accepting books on Sunday? Yes, I will. I forgot to tell everybody. Yeah, that's true too. Thanks for reminding me, Jim. So yeah, I will be at, like I mentioned, this Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, I'll be in London as a guest. Like, I mean, as a patron. I'll be there with my son, goofing around, enjoying the London Comic Con. I will also be there Sunday morning for business, just to get those signatures from Eastman with my witness. And then I'm going to take off, and I'm heading straight to Toronto to Vaughan to the Sparks Card Show at the Monte Cassino Hotel and Banquet Center on Chestwood Avenue or Chestwood Drive, I forget. So I'll be there collecting books, comic books, and magazines. So if you have books you want to submit, I will be at Chestwood on Sunday, but only for 2 hours. That's all I could do, guys. I couldn't fit it in between 2 and 4. That's it. So if you have books you want to submit in Toronto, that's where you'll catch me next this coming weekend. And then the following weekend, like I said, I will be in Hamilton. Me and Lou Ferrigno and the Hulk and all the other guys will be there. And I'll be doing submissions in Hamilton as well. And after Hamilton, I think I'm done for the year. I don't think I'm going to do any more damn shows. It's been a really busy few months, man. I'm really quite exhausted. I look forward to just a Sunday and a Saturday where I can just kind of chillax a little bit. Still only 35 cents says, I have a video coming out this week on that CGC mistake. Oh, great. Okay. Still only 35 cents. Tell us where we can find that. Dan, hey, Kev, I've been intrigued about looking for good CPR candidates. Do you think that could be an upcoming topic for one of your streams in terms of, look, for sure I could do. I've done that before in passing, but I could do a whole video dedicated to that by all means. I'd love to. Good idea, Dan. Good idea. Well, listen, guys, I got a little something here I want to show you before I go. I don't know if I think I put this on at the beginning of the video. I think I did. I don't know if I remember. I don't know if I did or not. But anyway, check this out. If you've been thinking about sending books to me and you're not from the GTA, or you could be from the GTA, but you don't want to drive all the way to Oshawa. My gosh, it's a whole 30 minutes. You can ship your books to me for free. That's right. You can ship your books to the Comic Doctor for free. All you have to do is go over to the Comic Doctor website at thecomicdoctor.com and fill out a submission form. If you submit 10 or more comics at the exclusive pressing tier, I will then contact you and provide you with a shipping label. That's right. So if you're in, say, Texas, or you're in Vancouver, or you're in Nova Scotia, or you're down in Winnipeg, Manitoba, or, Baltimore, or wherever, and you want to try the Comic Doctor and his team out, we'd love to work with you. Get your comic books here for free. All you got to do, fill out a submission form at the website, thecomicdoctor.com, exclusive press and clean, just 10, and I'll send you a shipping label to get you a UPS shipping label to get your books to me for free. Okay. All right, guys. Listen, thanks so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that show. If you have a moment, go on over to Alan's YouTube channel, Comic Collector Geek. He talks purely comics, guys. I mean, he's a comic collector's comic collector. Does that make sense? He's a comic collector's comic collector. So get on over there and support his channel. Throw him a like. And you know what? Before you leave, if you wouldn't mind hitting a like for me, that'd be fantastic too. I got a couple more comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. If I live down the road, can I get a discount instead? Geez, Trevor. Well, we'll talk. Can't add a link, but we'll go live on my YouTube channel this Friday. All right, still only 35 cents. Oh, thank you. I think Alan might have left. If he's still here, I'm not sure. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks again, and we'll see you again very, very soon right here on the Comic Doctor YouTube channel. No comic boxes in queue for Tuesday, but there's still almost a week before then, so I got a feeling I'll be back on Tuesday. Take care. Have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.